Hello, Express Entry Law and YouTubers who are watching this live well, wait a minute. You YouTubers, I haven't quite figured out how to do it live there. So you actually have to go to the Facebook page, Express Entry Law, request to join, then you can participate live. But for you YouTubers who are watching this as a recording, hello to you guys too. That group is growing almost as fast as our Facebook group, our Express Entry Law Facebook group, which right now, if I flip open my screen, is currently sitting at 82,630 members. So all I can say is that's freaking awesome. So we are growing fast, and it's awesome to have YouTube in. I can see that YouTube is a fantastic way to go because of the feedback that I'm getting from people who are sending me emails, who are going to their email account, putting in mholthy@stringham.ca, and putting EE Live Q&A into the subject line on their emails, because that's how you can reach out to me. I see some people are jumping on here. Mohammed, great, from Pakistan. Great to have you with me. We'll wait for some other people to join in as we build up our live group. In the interim, I want to show you a couple things. Right off the bat, as I always do, right here, you can see it floating around. This course is awesome. It is my complete step-by-step guide to doing it yourself. And for a monthly subscription, right now it's $97 US, you can jump in, you can learn everything that you want to learn, including exactly how to submit your application. And so I walk you through step-by-step through every process of Express Entry. And for those of you who are spending thousands of hours hunting the internet, searching the immigration forums, even posting questions on our private Express Entry Law Facebook group, guys, this will save you so much time. And the reality is I've poured all of my knowledge into that course for you. And those of you who are looking at doing it yourself but just need a little bit of extra help, this Express Entry Complete Step-by-Step Guide is the way you do it. And I'm doing this. I'm doing the live Express Entry Law Facebook Q&A here, as well as posting all of it onto YouTube, all of this for free because of this. And it's during the day. It's at noon in my office here. It's a little bit, if you look outside, I don't want to block, I'm going to pull this off. You can see it's a little bit overcast. It's not a super, super nice day. My staff are all gone, and I'm going to flip it even more. Oh, yeah, it's kind of hard to see. But over there, that is Billy's workstation. And I said, Billy, you're going to do a cameo today. And she said, no, I'm going for lunch. So that's another reason. While all of those guys in my office, and we've got a ton of people here. I don't know how many people, 55, 60 people in the firm, probably more. The reality is they're all gone for lunch, and I'm doing this for you guys. And so I have my little Herbalife shake here. Anybody do Herbalife? That's my lunch. That Herbalife coupled with, and actually let me just see here. I'm not sure if I can even show this. It's probably crooked. Let's see if it'll, oh, it won't post, it won't put it up there. I don't know why. Let me see here. Huh, interesting. Anyways, I was going to post a picture on here, and it doesn't seem to want to go on there. Oh, there we go. That one goes on there. Anyways, okay, we got a good group of people here. We've got Akshaya, Jahangir. We've got Tenzin. Oh, wow. This is awesome. Jahangir says, is it true the entire Express Entry system is coming down starting 2018? What? Is that some consultant who's trying to get you to pay them money right now so that you can get your profile in? I've never heard of anything like that, but I'll sure look into it for you. That's just crazy. That's ludicrous. Of course, it's not going to happen. Okay, so back to the drawing board. I am here in Lethbridge, broadcasting out of my Stringham LLP office, and I'm going to put them up there too because, hey, they need a shout out right there. Stringham LLP, they're the ones who are also supporting me in my practice as I grow the immigration presence here in this fine city of Lethbridge and really globally. And so all of these things that are all coming together are allowing me to do these EE Live Q&As. But like I said, this little course here, you guys that have not purchased it and purchased a subscription, you can get in, you can use it for 1 month and get out if you want. You just have to cancel it because it automatically renews. But this course right here, guys, will save you so much time and effort, and it goes through the whole process. So I'm going to plug that till the cows come home, as we say here in Alberta, and it's awesome. All right. A couple other housekeeping matters. Everybody knows the rules of engagement here, so the questions need to be general in nature. If you ask me questions like, how do I qualify? Folks, that is a paid consultation. So assessing your eligibility for express entry is only one part of that assessment. When people come to me for an immigration plan, we cover everything. We look at all of the different aspects of immigration. I don't just restrict it to express entry and whether or not you qualify. Anybody can go online and do a calculation to see how many points they have. But we look at is a strategic plan to make sure that you actually have a pathway forward to meet your goals. And when I ask people to send me an email and post EE Live Q&A in the subject line, lots of people do that. But then they ask, okay, wait for it, guess, that's right. How do I qualify for immigration? Or, here's all my supporting documents. Here's all my details about me, my family, my extended family in Canada. Can you tell me if I qualify or not? Folks, I would love to answer everybody's question in that way, but that is a paid consultation. So that's where you'll have to make a paid consultation, and then I can go through everything in detail. And today, I'm just going to pull it up here. And so I had questions from Sanju and from Loveji, J. Rodriguez, actually, and Kulvinder, who were exactly like that. They basically said, here's my information, and do I qualify? Can you help me? I never, ever want to leave people without some help. And so that's why I keep pushing back to here, which is the course, or people who send me these questions, I direct over to my legal assistant, Charlene, who then can set up a paid consultation with everyone. So that's how it works. So you guys there that I read off your names, I still care about you. I still want to help you, but I'm not able to do individual assessments. The way this works is because of the awesome questions that people like Sardar here. I'm a regular follower of your page. Welcome, Sardar. And Jelf and Mamunur and Ravi and Aaron and Jasdeep. Good evening, Mark. Good evening, Jasdeep. What time is it where you're listening from, my friend? And we've got Dimash from Delhi. So all of you guys who tune in here and ask really, really good questions that benefit everybody else, those are the ones that we're going to answer. Those are the ones that we're going to tackle. Because when I answer it once, thousands of people are able to benefit from it versus a one-on-one one-on-one series of question and answer that really may only benefit you if you're asking me whether or not you qualify. So hopefully people can understand. I can only spread my time so far, and I'm an immigration lawyer, a Canadian immigration lawyer. I'm an ex-immigration officer and a former high school teacher. And I take all of those three things and I mash them all together and I use them to create this. So, awesome. All right, it is time now. We've got an awesome group of live people that have jumped on. Syed. Oh, hi, Mark. Syed here from Dubai. I see you, my friend. We just had a consult, didn't we, buddy? We just had one. Awesome to have you with us. And Syed can maybe post his comments on whether or not he felt I was actually going to help him or not. And in Syed's situation, he isn't some straightforward candidate. He's a person just like you guys who has to really struggle and work out the fact that age is a challenge, and family and education, and we covered it all. So thanks, Syed. It's super awesome to have you on the podcast, on this podcast. Yes, I do the Canadian Immigration podcast as well. And that is a whole separate stream of things that I do with a whole separate focus, but occasionally it slips in. But anyways, great to have you, Syed. Okay, all right, we are in business. It is now time to jump to our questions. So let's do this. All right, question number one, and hopefully my portal hasn't timed out because this one's a live one. So this one's from Tiffany, and she actually sent me two. So just give me 1 second. I'm going to make sure that my portal is still live, because we're going right into the live portal this time. We're not messing around. So, all right, yes, it's still live and kicking. Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to get back here. And sorry about that little distraction. I've got things queued up because I'm going to be teaching. I'm not just going to throw out little answers with no reference point. Okay. All right. Zeb from Pakistan. Hey, buddy. Good to see ya. Okay. So this is what Tiffany says. She says, Dear Mr. Mark Holthe, my name is Tiffany. I've had this question related to work experience for a while now. Luckily, I found your Facebook page and know what you are doing is so amazing. Thanks, Tanya. And guys, I don't just choose these because they're always patting me on the back and saying, good job, Mark. I choose them because they're actually really good questions. This is one we've never covered before. I currently have 1 year, 10 months experience, NOC B, administrative assistant. However, when I update my profile in October 2017 with the new CELPIP result, the system gave me 2 years. And so I worked 5 days, 5 days a week, 8 hours a day. So she met all the other things. But in reality, she only worked 1 year, 10 months. And the comprehensive ranking system, when she submitted her profile, gave her credit for 2 years when she had only completed 1 year, 10 months. So she says, I have 6 weeks experience as an assistant restaurant manager trainee. Would this be counted in express entry? Okay, so we're going to separate this aside. Okay, so 6 weeks, remember, same NOC. So if you're trying to assess your eligibility, the first thing is that you have at least a minimum of 1 year of continuous skilled work experience. Tiffany, you have that. So we're going to address this glitch, and I'll call it a glitch. And people are wondering, how the heck do you get credit for 2 years when you only put in 1 year and 10 months? Well, let me show you. I'm going to share my screen with you, and I'm going to blow this up so that you can see this is a live profile. So I've gone in, and this is the live profile, so all of you can see this. I'm actually going to expand this, make it a little bit bigger. I don't want to have my my picture interfering here. And now I figured out how to show it so that it doesn't. You know what? We're going to leave it. Wish I could get rid of my own picture. Whatever. It's all fine. I think we're okay. I'm gonna make this a little bit larger. And then when I scroll down, it won't interfere. I think it'll be okay. Okay, there we go. All right, so you can see here work history. It says, we will assess Mark Holthe, this is my profile, his current and previous jobs for eligibility for express entry and use them to calculate my score. And you can tell us about each job by filling in the field. So this is your profile, folks. So I am Tiffany, and I'm including my work experience. So you can see here, do you have any work history? Well, of course I do. So I click yes, and then bam, it all shows up here. And this is what I want to show you guys. Do you see this? It says, since what year? So I'm going to say, like Tiffany, my work experience, it doesn't say when she actually did it, but we'll say 2015. And then let's say I started January the 1st. Actually, no, let's say I started February the 28th. Now, I think February let's go with March. I can't remember if it's 28 or 29 days. And for the purposes of accuracy, I want to show you this. So if I go 2015 March, you can see it doesn't give me a day. Well, that could be March the 1st, or it could be March the 30th, right? And so if I started on March the 30th, well, technically speaking, from an actual day standpoint, what this program is going to do, it's going to give me credit for all of March. So no, even though I started on March the 30th, it's going to give me credit for March the 1st all the way through. So that's the issue. And I'm going to go to 2017. And let's say that for 2017, I got to start doing the math now so that I get this correct. So if we do March and we go back to January, that should give me 1 year and 10 months. Did I do it right, folks? So if this was March, if she started on March the 30th or March the 31st and ended on January the 1st, or she submitted her profile on January the 1st, then what is that going to do? So in reality, she may only have 1 year and 10 months. But the comprehensive ranking system here is going to give her full credit for those months. So when she submits her profile or modifies it and adds her English, guess what's going to happen? It's pretty simple. It's going to give her credit for those 2 years. So the question that she says now is, well, the reality is, how do you deal with this? And I think all of you guys are probably wondering what this Canadian immigration lawyer is going to give you for advice. Because if Tiffany received an ITA, an invitation to apply, based on this, well, guess what's going to happen? If she was to submit her electronic application for permanent residence, and she submitted it even before she'd accumulated the full 2 years, then that can be a problem. So let me explain why. So we're going to go here to the, let's see if I can find it right here. So this site here indicates it's the advice that officers are given in determining whether or not an application is complete. And so you'll see here as we scroll down that the officer, when reviewing an application, and I'm going to make sure that I share my screen so that you guys can all see it. Everybody's like, what are you talking about? We can't see it. Okay, so I'm going to blow this up. And I wonder if I can get rid of this. I don't even know. Okay, let's see. Okay, so I'm going to blow this up so everybody can see it a little bit better. And it's actually a little bit tricky because of the camera. Okay, so you can see here, when reviewing an application, processing officers must determine if the applicant qualifies, if the qualifications that they declared in the EAPR as corroborated by the applicant's supporting documents, so that what you said in your profile and your EAPR when you submit it is actually consistent with your documents that you show, and that the information provided in their express entry profile has not materially changed. Okay, that's great. Then they have to refuse it. But the reality is, what they're looking at here is they have to look at the time of the ITA or EAPR that the applicant meets the minimum entry criteria, and that the applicant's recalculated CRS score has not fallen below the lowest ranked candidate invited. So for example, if Tiffany was applying and she got credit for those 2 full years, but in reality she should only have gotten credit for 1 year, when she submits her EAPR, she's probably still going to meet the minimum entry criteria right here, because she'll still have that minimum 1 year of continuous full-time paid work experience. But maybe the comprehensive ranking system, and that when they did the ranking and the rounds of invitations, maybe the rounds of invitations was set at 445 points. But when she actually only can prove that she had work experience for 1 year instead of the 2, maybe it causes her point total, her own personal point total, to drop down to, say, 435 points. Well, an officer, things are locked in, folks. So if you submit your EAPR and your comprehensive ranking system score, just as I've said here, when it's recalculated, and what they mean by recalculated is they actually look at the actual days that you have worked based on your employment reference letters, then you could get your application refused. Now, officers have discretion, and you can go online and you can see lots of people talking about this. Some people say, don't worry about it. By the time the officer looks at it, you will have made up those 2 months. Well, the reality is there's tremendous discretion by those officers, and they can do whatever they want. But I would never, ever err and on the side of being, I guess, too liberal and just allowing it to go forward. I would never do that. If you receive an ITA and you haven't yet met that full year that you need to, in other words, the 2 years, then I would actually decline the invitation to apply, go back into the pool, and just wait till you reach that full 2 years, and then resubmit your profile, especially if you're high enough. Okay? And there's a number of factors to look at. You have to take into consideration if you were a person that doesn't ever think he's going to get another ITA because the ITA rounds of invitations drop down to 413. Well, that's, sometimes you have to take a risk and decide, do I let it go forward and then have an officer decline it or refuse it because I haven't met the comprehensive ranking system score has dropped based on the new assessment? That may be the case. But you have to understand, guys, that there's risks with everything, and I take a very conservative approach. If there's an ability to decline that invitation to apply, so Tiffany, in your case, if you got an invitation to apply, then that's the issue. If you haven't received one yet, then don't worry about it. Ultimately, your profile is going to sit in there, and then when the ITA comes through, then you're going to receive. You're probably going to have accumulated that full 2 years. Okay, so that was a long answer, but it was important because lots of people ask that question. And if they are rounding up because your profile only asks for the month and not the exact day, you need to make sure that you are responsible for your own application. And don't just rely on a certain loophole and think that you're gonna trick the system, because eventually there's going to be a real officer that's looking at the exact dates on your reference letter and matching it up with what you've indicated in your application. Now, it's possible there's no misrepresentation, right? You're just answering the questions truthfully. And it's possible that some of you know people who went through and were successful and didn't do anything about it. But I do not take chances. So I wouldn't do it. All right. Next question is from Varna. And Varna says, I have 2 questions for you and was hoping that you could shed some light on it. Okay, first one, on my degree certificates, only the month and year of completion is mentioned. Hey, sounds familiar? Okay, so month and year, for example, April 2016. Whereas in the Express Entry profile, we're required to give a specific date too. So my question is, can we mention an approximate date or does it have to be exact? It's a pretty simple answer. Try to be as exact as you can. So try to pick the date that is as close as you possibly can be to the one that is actually when you completed it, and go with it. As long as you are doing the very best you can to answer the questions truthfully, then you're going to be fine. Okay. Second, and actually that reminds me too. Have any of you guys tried to fill out the travel history? Trying to remember every place that you've been for the past 10 years down to the day? Oh my goodness, not easy. So that one there also applies to any other question within the Express Entry system where it's asking you to provide an exact day. Do the best you can, and if you're really not sure, you can always attach in your letter of explanation why you chose the day you did, and that you don't remember perfectly if that was the exact day, but it's your best guess. Okay? All right. Secondly, my employer provided me with my employer letter. It has all of the information as per CIC requirements. Wonderful. And then she talks about first page, has her position, salary, start date. It's printed on company letterhead. But the second page, which is my job duties and responsibilities, are directly taken from the company's internal website for employees, and unfortunately the HR is unable to print that page on a letterhead. Would this create a problem for me? No, it really won't. And the most important thing, if you can get a confirmation from your HR saying we can't print this or we can't put this on letterhead, that's ideal. But if not, just make sure that you provide a letter of explanation as to why it is what it is. So, and Varna says, you're doing such a fantastic job, Mark, and I'm so happy to be part of this wonderful group. Fantastic. I can tell you that every single person in this group, except the ones that tend to be jerks sometimes, who I have to kick out, I feel like you guys are all one big, huge family, that we're this one massive family. And when I hear people who've been in the group, whether you've hired me or not, doesn't matter, but have used all of you and all of the resources that I give to obtain permanent residence in Canada, like I want to start this Express Entry law wall of fame, and where people post their pictures and we all get to celebrate because it is so awesome. It's so awesome seeing people realize their dreams. All right, Joy. This one relates to proof of funds, and so Joy says, "Good day, Mark. My bank doesn't provide bank statements if the account you hold is an account with a passbook. As an alternative to bank statements, they told me they could sign the photocopies of the passbook. Is that fine? If I'm going to show the photocopies, is it the same with bank statements? That should I only need to show the past 6 months transactions in the passbook? Also, I could print my past 6 months from their online banking system. However, they told me that they can't sign printed from online. Is it okay to submit printouts of online transactions without bank signatures, or photocopy of passbook with signatures will do? Note, I was able to obtain a bank certificate with details such as account opening date, current balance, and average daily balance for the past 6 months. Well, this is awesome. Like, the reality is, Joy, you are totally on track. And I always err on the side of caution. I include everything. If you can get bank statements that are stamped by the in your passbook, then get them. If you can print off pages and they add something that maybe the passbook pages don't, then do it. And obviously you've got an awesome letter there from the bank, which shows pretty much everything that the government wants to see. So you're in fantastic shape. And just for all of you who are tuning in and watching maybe for the first time, let's just jump on here quick. I'll share my screen. And IRCC has changed some of these pages. I better make sure I've got the right one here. There. They've changed some of these pages and removed our little drop-down menus, which I don't know why they did it, but it's a real pain. Anyway, so when you scroll down here, this page right here that talks about completeness check, this is what you need to do and look at when you're trying to determine whether or not your documents are good enough. And if you go down here, you will see there's a section specifically for bank statements, proof of funds and what you need to include. And what I should probably do is just do this. There it is. I guess I can search it easier that way. Anyway, so here's the section on proof of funds. And without my image covering it, okay, there. You can see here that you need to provide a letter from your financial institution that lists all the current bank and investment accounts as well as outstanding debts such as credit card debts and loans. So this is the ideal. This is, if you can get this, then absolutely do it. It must be printed on the letterhead, include your name and information for the financial institution. And then you can see here, it also needs to have the account numbers, the date each was opened, and the current balance of each account, as well as the average balance for the past 6 months. So this is where you go, folks. You go right here, and that will give you the information you need to determine if your documents are going to work for the purposes of your EAPR. And who does this, right? Okay, you look on YouTube, and you take a look and see if there's anyone else that's actually teaching you where to find the information on the government's website. Oh, do they want to do that? They do not, because they want to appear like they are hoarding this secret information and only they know where to find this magical completeness check website. And so there you go, guys. I'm just showing it to you. All right, so that's where you can learn all about proof of funds, what you need to have in your reference letters and everything. Okay, the last one here is a good question. It's a three-parter, but it's a great one to finish off with a bang. This relates to, and I'm going to shift to my screen here, what we call as the magical, and I'm going to blow this up big. Okay, so right here we have the offer of employment, and many of you will know that you can get extra points if you have an accepted offer of employment from a Canadian company that meets the requirements of express entry. You can get an extra 200 points if you're at a senior VP executive level. If you're a regular skilled worker, anything from a skill level B, which is your trade or technical level, all the way up to a professional or a lower level manager, you can get an extra 50 points, an extra 50 comprehensive ranking system points. And it'll totally put you right over the edge. But the question is, what is this and how does it work? So here's Mohammed's question. Okay, so he actually goes by Saad. So this is Saad from Pakistan. I have 3 simple questions. My wife is the principal applicant. She is a law graduate and is a lawyer by profession in Pakistan, whereas one of my own uncles owns a pizza restaurant in Calgary. Very cool. You know what, Saad? You're going to have to post, if you're watching this, I'm not sure if you're on watching this live, but you're going to have to post in the comments who your uncle's pizza restaurant is, and I'm going to go visit it in Calgary the next time I'm up there. I'm going to stop by and get a pizza there. So you have to let me know where it is, okay? Or you can private message me. Okay, so Saad says, 1, can he, my uncle, give her, my wife, an offer letter on managerial post at his restaurant? Okay, so this comes down to what it means to have a job offer or an offer of employment and what qualifies and what doesn't. So here's the expectation in terms of what the letter looks like, all of this is what it looks like. But at the end of the day, this is where we say in Canada, the rubber hits the road. It really comes down to what constitutes a job offer. So it must be made by an employer with a new positive labor market impact assessment that approves the offer and names you and your position. So your uncle would need to post an advertisement and show that there's no Canadian or permanent resident who would be willing to fill the position first, and submit a formal application to ESDC or Service Canada for this, what we call a permanent labor market impact assessment. So this PLMIA. And if he can't show that there's no Canadian or permanent resident, if he can't show that there's none available, in other words, if there's people that are applying, then it's not going to work. So it's a formal process. It's very complicated. And that's why many of you are not able to get these job offers, because the Canadian company needs to show there's no Canadian or permanent resident to do it. But with that being said, if he can do that and he is successful, then it is possible. And in fact, you can get one that's just for the purposes of permanent residence, which we call a PLMIA, or a dual labor market impact assessment that's used both for securing permanent residence and getting that extra 50 points for your wife, and to allow her to apply sooner for a work permit to come over and work before permanent residence is even received. So that dual purpose also fits. If you are in Canada, and you can see that currently working in a NOC 0A or B job, and your work permit was based on an LMIA, then you can also get those offer of employment points, which is just a no-brainer. And you can see there's other requirements that your work permit actually lists your employer, you're legally working in Canada, and the employer on your work permit is the one who made you the offer. So that works. And then the final one is what we used to have in the past. My CEOs and executives of large publicly traded companies would often come into Canada through an intercompany transfer from one of their foreign offices, a foreign subsidiary. And they would never be able to get any of these offer of employment points, even though they were making $500,000 a year, where the leader of a company, a publicly traded company that employed thousands of Canadians, according to Express Entry, they weren't the kind of candidates we wanted in our country. Well, obviously that all changed last year, and now they're given 200 points. But they have to show that they're currently working for the employer on their work permit. And remember, these are not LMIA-based work permits. They're based on an LMIA exempt category. And then 1 year of full-time work experience. So they actually have to work in Canada. At least that's our interpretation at this stage. Some people are trying to push that envelope, saying that they've worked for the company outside of Canada. But right now, 1 year full-time work experience, or an equal amount in part-time for that employer, and the job offer for at least 1 year after they issue the permanent resident visa. That's what the company has to agree to. So there you go. So that basically is the breakdown for you of what a job offer is. And so in the case of Saad's wife here, if his uncle can show that there's no Canadian available to do it and get an LMIA, then yeah, absolutely. You can totally do it. Okay, so then you can see, will that number, the second question he asks, one, he says, can the uncle provide an offer letter? Two, will that job offer letter be enough to be established? No, you need the LMIA. Your uncle has to get an LMIA. And then how much points? We covered that. For his spouse, it would be 50 points. All right? So there you go, folks. That's awesome. We're in business. This is fantastic. Okay, I have answered the last of these awesome questions, so I can throw them away. And now it's time to answer you patient people who've been on waiting for your turn to get me to answer your questions live. And do you know what? We have covered a lot of ground really quickly, so I've got a lot of time to answer your listener questions. So let's start right now. Okay, so I've got Muhammad Assad here. He says, hello, Mark Holthe. While filling my post-ITA, it asked me to put, and I'm assuming that's the EAPR, it says, it asked me to put activity information while I was unemployed. What do I fill? As I was literally doing nothing during my unemployment periods. Please help. Much appreciated. You can just put unemployed, unemployed. it doesn't matter. You don't have to specifically list that you were at home with your family cleaning house and doing the dishes. It doesn't matter. The reality is you just want to make sure that they just want to know where you're at. And if you're unemployed, then you're unemployed. So I would just, you could put not working, you can put whatever, but it doesn't really matter. It's not a big deal. Okay. Jazdeep says, can you please guide for investment category? Sorry, Jazdeep, investment category is a whole new world that requires a whole set of paid consultations and detailed analysis, and it goes well beyond our Express Entry Law group. So I can't do that one. Okay, who can get nomination certificate? Rana asks that. Rana, that all comes back to the various provincial nominee programs, and every province has different rules, and you'll need to just take a look at each of those provinces to see. Some have some very, and I'll hold it like this, very limited capacity, probably even this small. Let's see if you can even see this on here. You got probably about that much room to actually qualify independently to immigrate to a province under one of the international skilled worker streams where you don't have to have a job in that province. It is so difficult. You guys have seen it. The PEI one opens up for 2 seconds and it's closed. Even Saskatchewan is open for a second and it's closed before you even get your application prepared. It's so frustrating. But you have to go to each province and examine it. All right? Okay. Salman says, oh yeah, Mark, but I suggest you should go for lunch now. Okay. Yeah, I should. But you know what? Right here, I need to have Herbalife as my sponsor. Okay, just wait. Let me see if I can turn it here. I'm going to put my cap on. It looks kind of gross, but it actually is really good. Herbalife Nutrition. It's a well-worn cup. I should be a spokesperson for Herbalife because it allows me to do this with you, answering your questions on Express Entry, while at the same time staying fueled. Love that chocolate shake. Okay. All right, moving on. We'll forget about that. Okay, thanks, though, for thinking about me, Salman. All right, Mohammed gives me a thumbs up. Yasser says, hi, I'm a civil engineer. Okay, Yasser, I think you're asking for me to assess your qualifications. Civil engineer, 10 years plus experience, 41, 2 kids, English moderate, uncle family. Yeah, that's those questions, Yasser, are ones that would require you booking with me a paid consultation. So I'm going to show you guys, just because many of you are probably saying, hey, Mark, can you help me to figure out if I can qualify? Right here, this is the site. And those of you who are watching on YouTube, you can find it here as well. Okay, so this is where you can schedule a consultation directly with me. And you have a choice between me or my fine immigration consultant, Billy Young, who was an ex-immigration officer as well. And everything's here. Our fees, how much we charge, $200 for a 30-minute consult with myself. And you know what? Syed, my good friend who just did a consultation with me, he can tell you right now whether or not it was actually worth his money to have the consult. I'll let the people who have booked them with me actually tell all of you guys. But you can book it directly with me if you would like to speak directly with me, or if you're looking for advice from Billy as well. Hers is $100 for a 30-minute consult. And I can tell you that we can totally set you straight in about 30 minutes, answer your questions, get you on the right track, and determine your eligibility. And not only that, if you don't qualify, I spend a lot of time talking about other strategies, other things that you can do, other programs that maybe you never thought about. The possibility of getting a study permit, whether it's actually realistic, and tips and strategies on how to improve your chances of actually getting approved that study permit to come and study in Canada. So that's what I recommend, is that anyone who is looking at actually a formal assessment from me, you're going to need to go through a paid consult. Okay? All right. I'm scrolling down here. Hatem says, hi, Mark, following from Qatar. I got my Express Entry profile on the 28th of October, but I didn't have a job seeker validation code in it. Therefore, I'm not able to apply for any province nomination. I sent a claim asking about this problem, and that's the reply I received. It is not applicable. So I don't know, where is the problem? Will this cause a problem when receiving an invitation? Thanks in advance. No, Hatem, the whole job bank was a freaking joke. I'll be honest. No companies were hiring people through this, forcing people to go to the job bank and register. So the matching system just did not work. And I understand the government had really good intentions with it, but in practice, employers just don't really hire people that way. And that's why in Canada, if you get this letter from some consulting organization or recruiting company that offers you a job and only asks you to pay $5,000 Canadian, don't believe them. It's a total scam. And most of the agencies out there who are claiming for a fee to help you find a job, well, in some provinces it's actually illegal. In Alberta, it's illegal for a company for you to pay them to find you a job. And Canadian companies don't just hire people without doing a background check on them, without actually talking to them. Think about it. Would you not want to actually have a conversation with someone that you're going to help to bring over to Canada? And employers have to pay $1,000 alone as a processing fee for that labor market impact assessment process. And so even if they do it themselves, they're still forking out that money. They're not just going to hire someone that they don't know from another country without actually going through an interview, even if it's a Skype interview. So don't be tricked. Understand, I know you're desperate to come. You're looking for ways to increase your CRS points. But by and large, the vast majority of these, if you've not had a formal process where you've gone through interviews and you've talked with the company and you understand everything about your job and the company and what they want you to do, it's going to be a scam, okay? So you don't even need to post, is this job offer letter, legitimate? It's got a crappy Canadian flag watermark in the background. Scam, 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 all right? Okay. XN says, why there is no sound? Okay, I'm assuming everybody else can hear me. Anyways, XN said there's no sound. Probably you don't have your sound turned on. Okay, I'm just going to scroll to the bottom, though, here now. Now I'm wondering, okay, we're good. No one else has said there's no sound, so that's good. Okay. Okay, Rana says, thanks, I can see how small is. Okay, that's good. Okay, are you able to help providing jobs? No, Jasdeep, I don't do that. I provide Canadian immigration advice. I'm an immigration lawyer. I'm not a recruiting company. I don't have ins with employers. I don't have a stable of employers who are looking to hire people. And in fact, all of those big, large outfits out there, I know who they are. You guys know who they are, who pay for all of the premium ad space, who have a team of writers there who are putting out content. As soon as the government announces something, they immediately spin out this immigration news and all these things. Guys, the reality is Canadian companies, by and large, the economy is not such that they're looking to hire outside of the country. So even these value-added services that they claim, helping you to link your resume with job banks and things like that, just do it yourself. You're going to know better than anyone else your qualifications and the types of jobs you're looking for. But anyways, I don't offer that service. Okay, Salman says, you do deserve a big treat from all of us, bro. Thanks. Okay, what's the best way to immigrate if their age is 45 plus? Jasdeep, the reality is you're right. A job offer is pretty much, the best way. You can, because even if you at 45 are looking to come and say you're going to go back to school, it's really tough. I see so many refusals of study permits for people that are over the age of 40, even when their desire to study is legitimate. Often they look through it and say, you're just looking to immigrate. And if you have immigrant intent, then, well, even though the law says you can have dual intent, both a desire to be a permanent resident one day and abide by the temporary conditions on whatever visa we give you, in our visa office, we don't care. We're not going to approve it because we don't think you're going to go back to your home country. We don't think that you are a bona fide visitor or a bona fide student. All right. So, Jasdeep, a letter, work experience absolutely is probably the best route. Some people try to get study permits. They try to get a master's or a PhD, depending if it actually makes sense with your background. But it is hard. And the reality is the Canadian government prejudices people. Because, Jasdeep, I'm 45. I am 45 years old. And according to the government, in terms of age, I am worth this much. 0. Let's see if you can see this. Good. Yeah, there you can. 0. I'm worth 0, just like everybody else that's 45 years old. Okay. Abhishek says, Hi, Mark. I'm planning to do a graduate certificate course in Toronto. Cool. Awesome. I already have a bachelor's degree from the U.S. What should I choose in the education section when filing my EE profile? Well, at the end of the day, any education that you get, whether it's in Canada or in the U.S., any foreign education, as you know, needs to be assessed, and you need to have an educational credential assessment with one of the designated agencies. In Canada, it all comes down to the course. If it's a master's level, then you indicate master's. That's what you choose. And any graduate level course, master's, you say it's an 8-month course. Well, 8 months usually is like 1 year. And so if it's a master's and the Canadian institution, you haven't indicated who it is. If it's a well-respected public institution like University of Toronto, U of T, or Queen's, or any of these highly respected universities, then whatever they say, if it's a master's, then it's a master's. Simple as that. If it's a PhD, it's a PhD. All right? Okay, Shazia. Hi, Sherry is here, Mark. I want to know if someone need refugee file, how long it take to get back. Thanks. I have no clue what you're asking, unfortunately, Sherry. Refugee is a whole different topic, completely outside of this group. So I'm going to have to pass on that one. Okay. Ricky says, if I don't recall all my school's details, what should I fill in the form? Do the best you can. Do whatever it takes to get the actual form to complete and accept as being completed. Then attach a letter of explaining your letter of explanation. Explain, look, I can't remember all the details. I know this about the school, but do the very best you can to get all the information. Don't just be lazy. Do the work to try to complete everything as best that you can, and then when you can't, provide an explanation. Okay, Rai says, hi, Mark. I just got accepted in EE Pool with the help of an agency based in Alberta. Rai, why the heck did you not hire me? Oh, what is going on here? Okay, and obviously the agency has really provided a lot of help to you. They must be just fantastic because, you'd have no need to even come on my Express Entry Law Facebook group and ask me questions. Come on, man. None of my clients are going to have to go on and ask anyone else because I answer their questions. Okay, my rant is done. Okay, I'm waiting for an ITA now, but I don't even know my CRS. Oh, freak, Rai. Gong show, man, gong show. I asked my agency what's my CRS, but got no reply from them. I calculated on the website and got around 470. Don't know if it's the same on my profile. Is there a way for me to know my status on my application without going to my agency? They won't allow me to access my profile, though. Thanks. Okay, Rai, I want you to tell me who they are. I am 100% transparent. And I'm out here. This is live. I want you to tell me who they are to start with. Then, after we've publicly shamed them for being jerks, every single representative had better take screenshots of exactly what they're submitting so that you know what's going in there when your profile is submitted. You know exactly what your score is, what your total summary breakdown is. Every single applicant who is using a representative deserves that, and it's a right. And if they don't, you fire them. You get rid of them. You submit your own profile. Because at 470 points, I don't know how long ago it was, you should have been drawn. But this is a garbage approach. And I have no respect for any company who does not provide a completely transparent, open explanation to their clients of exactly where they're at, including the very date that the application, the profile was submitted, and every way transparently so that the person has everything that the council has. And clearly this group are a bunch of shysters if they are not even giving that information to you, let alone even responding. So, Rai, there's my challenge. You tell me who they are, and at the end of the day, if they're not cooperating, you kick them loose. If you haven't received an ITA yet, then fire them. Report them to IRCC, because that's garbage. Okay, I'm done. But this is my industry, right? And people say, oh, Mark, you charge so much money. You charge $5,000 for express entry. That's way more than I want to pay. Well, yeah, because you get exactly what you pay for. Sure, maybe this group charged Rai $3,000. I don't know. Well, what the heck good are they if they're not even telling him the information that he needs? He doesn't even know how many comprehensive ranking system points he's been given. Like, this is stupid. And you guys who are cheap, who are unwilling to pay to get proper, competent advice, well, fine. Then you can enjoy your life using crappy representatives for bargain basement prices who do nothing more for you than you could do yourself. All right. I'm sorry, rant's over. There are a lot of good reps out there as well who do a fantastic job, and I don't want to dish them. But Rise is freaking useless. Okay, next. Okay, XN says, hello, Mark. I want to ask you if my Lmia work permit has expired after I submitted my application. Do I still get the 50 points? No. If your work experience has expired, nope, not at all. And you were using it and your LMIA was to support that work permit, no, you won't get the 50 points. Your work permit has to continue to be valid at the time in which you submit your application. Okay? Luca, is it possible to have 1 or more year education credential even if only the last 6 months were done in Canada and another 7 months were made abroad? Luca, you just have to get your ECA. So if it's in Canada, I see your question. If it's in Canada and some of it is done abroad, you know what? I read something about that. That happens really rarely. It comes down to where a substantial amount of that education actually took place. So if there's a part of an internship that's abroad, like a work abroad component that's through some type of a co-op, as long as the nexus is with the Canadian school, by and large, it will work. But understand, every single officer has the ability to determine whether or not they're going to accept that truly as Canadian work experience, as Canadian education. And it's really going to come down to after you get your ITA, because remember, the ITA is not assessed by a live human being. Whatever answers you put in there, the algorithm that's runs the comprehensive ranking system is going to spit out your ITA, and they're not going to question the information that you put in. So if you say you have a Canadian educational credential, you will get the points. It won't be till you file your EAPR that then a live officer will actually look at it and assess it. So generally speaking, it could work, but 6 months in Canada and 7 months abroad may push you to the stage where it's considered to be not. But the only way you're going to know is by going forward. All right? Rajesh. Thanks for this live, and I want to ask you what time it takes for work permit visa. Usually, you can go online, and all of the work permit processing times are listed. All you have to do is type in CIC processing times, and then you can find the work permit section. You can find your country that you're applying under, and it will list. They range anywhere from 2 to 3 weeks to 2 months. I guess some places could be more, some could be less, but generally it's right around there. A little bit under a month to 2 months. Okay. Ali says, hi, Mark. A big thank you for your page and awesome guide. Thanks. Ali, have you subscribed to it? Okay. The Express Entry Guide? Okay, probably. He says, I have a question. Do we submit scans of all our past passports? I ask because I've lost my last passport, which has already expired, and I traveled on it more than 10 years ago. Will it be needed? Unlikely. It really will be unlikely, Ali. And if you've lost it, you just provide a letter of explanation. There are times when IRCC wants to get further information regarding travel history, and they will come back and say, provide stamped pages that match up with your travel history, but it's not something that they ask for up front. So it's only if they have some reason to doubt or they want to really assess whether or not you maybe need a police clearance because you've spent more than 6 months cumulatively in a country and you haven't provided that police clearance. So that's why they usually dig into the travel history. It's for background and security. But in your situation, you're going to disclose where you've lived for the past 10 years, and if they want something and you can't provide it, then you just need to explain it. All right? Great question. Okay. Lots of thumbs up, Salma. Shazi's got a heart there. Awesome. Hatem, thank you, Mark, very much. But Manitoba asked me to provide job seeker validation code while creating account, and I couldn't provide it, so I could not complete the process. Oh, Hatem, I'm so sorry. And this is where every province is different. And in all honesty, I would do the exact same thing that you're doing. I would reach out to Express Entry. They're not fast responding, I know. Submit a technical request and work back from there. But yeah, sometimes those things happen. And as you can see with immigration, there is no mercy, zero. Take, for example, last night. I'm in the process of creating a new system that is going to allow me to be more efficient in doing express entry applications, which will result in the fees that I charge going down. And I'm doing that to create efficiencies within our office so that we can do the work quicker and not lose any of the professionalism, any of the quality, but just make it more affordable for all of you. And I was up I was at the office last night till, it was after 11, it was 11:30 at night. I was working, creating this new questionnaire, and I'm building it based on the portal, the express entry questions. And I was locked out. So from about, I'd say it was 9:15 till 11:30, I repeatedly tried to get into my own rep portal, and I couldn't. It was shut down. And so those glitches happen all the time. And it really sucks when you're in a time-sensitive situation. If I had a work permit that I had to submit last night and the portal was down, I would have been screwed. And so I'm just I guess I can feel for you, man. I can feel like when you're so close and then some technical glitch. And so all you can do is just the best that you can do. And sometimes the result is harsh and cruel. And that's our crazy immigration world. All right. Hind Hanoud says, thanks for your help, Mark. You bet. Okay, Muhammad asks, he says, hi, Mark, this is a counter question. What Muhammad Saad asked, if a person had post-grad work permit, does it still need a LMIA from an employer? Yes. Post-grad work permits are open work permits, and those, just like a spousal open work permit, don't work because it has to be named by like your work permit has to have the actual name of the employer on it. So yeah, that's one of the decisions that they made. So post-grad students, yeah, they're left out. Okay. Rai, Mike, you're awesome. My second question. Okay, who's your consultant, homie? Who's your consultant, Rai? I want you to tell me. Make sure you private message me then at least, okay? Hi, Mark, you're awesome. My second question, can I apply tourist visa even if I have pending application for express entry? I have a brother in Alberta, and they're planning to get me a tourist visa while waiting for my application. Well, Rai, you can. Like, you can get a tourist visa, but you can't, like, work permits have to be applied from outside of Canada. There's a bunch of other issues, and you can apply for it. But if you already have a permanent resident application in the queue, sometimes foreign visa offices will use that against you and say, oh, your intention isn't temporary. You're not a bona fide visitor. You are actually looking to immigrate to Canada, and if we give you this visitor visa, you're not going back. So there's no harm in applying. It doesn't hurt your chances of express entry, but understand that if you're applying for a visitor visa and you already have a permanent resident application in the queue, in other words, you filed an EAPR application, then sometimes that can come back, and the officers who are cruel and heartless, like the Grinch, and their heart is like, 3 sizes too small. I don't know if any of you guys know The Grinch Who Stole Christmas, but it's my favorite show. As a kid, a cartoon. Maybe I'll post a link to it so that you guys can know what I'm talking about. But sometimes immigration officers, there's a lot that are awesome. And all of you officers who actually watch these and are seeing what Mark's doing and getting intel, I know there are awesome officers out there. Old past colleagues and good people on the border and all over who are doing things awesome. But some of you guys are jerks that could care less about people, or just, quote, doing your job and have no heart because you're like a Grinch. And that's the reality in any occupation. And sometimes you'll get those people. And so if you get one of those in your visa office who is a heartless Grinch with a heart 3 sizes too small, you could get your visitor visa application refused. Okay. All right. XN is dominating the conversation here. If my LMIA work permit has expired, oh yeah, I already answered that one. Okay. Okay, let's see here. Okay. And Salman, unfortunately, you were asking a personal question, like a specific question about whether you qualify based on your qualifications. Like I said before, that is a specific question that requires a paid consultation. So I'm going to kick you back here, my friend. This right here is where you go. And you guys, it'll cost a little bit. Yes, it costs $200 to retain me for 30 minutes Canadian. But trust me, in that $200, I can answer your questions. I can help you. I can put you on a path where you can actually map out your chances of immigrating to Canada. And most importantly, I will tell you the truth. If I don't think you have a chance, if your chances are so low, I will advise you, one, that you don't qualify, and two, what you can do to potentially increase your chances or to change your lot in life, your situation. So book that consultation. And I think in the past, I'm not sure if I still have it here. I post a lot of things on here, and I'm just scrolling to see if I actually have the link. It's quite massive. Well, it's not really massive for the consult. You can go to my firm website, Stringham LLP. I thought I had already posted it. Oh, there it is. That's why. Oh, great. Look at this. You can hardly even read it. Anyways, you can see here, www.stringham.ca/immigration not an underscore Mark Holthe is how you access the consult page to book a consult with me. And I'll put that in the comment section and in the description for the video so that you guys have got it. Okay. Okay, Davis says, I have a tourist visa. I intend visiting next year. Would it affect my EE application? Not at all. Once you got it, come visit. Enjoy Canada. Go skiing. Play hockey. In the summer, go climb a mountain. Come to Waterton, the favorite place that I have in the world to go. Even though we had the massive fires that burned a ton of the surrounding hills, it's going to be beautiful green this year as everything grows back up through all the trees that were burned. It's going to be beautiful. It'll be rolling hills where there were forests. But yeah, so come, enjoy. Okay. Oh, I see. Shazia says, I'm a citizen, but I need my refugee file. You need to do an ATIP. Oh, Shazia, it's an ATIP. And I've actually created a blog post on how to... Oh, look at this. Show you guys. See? That's my brother. He's calling me. My brother from Australia came home to visit. I'm going to have to call him after. Anyways, the ATIP, there are instructions for how you can do that. If you're a citizen in Canada, then you can do it. How long it takes? Well, if you're actually asking for a copy of it back, it takes between 30 to 60 days. If your file is here in Canada, then it may come back sooner, but that's how long it takes. And Shazia, I did and some of you may have actually seen this. I don't just do this. I don't just do podcasts. I write blogs. And so this is one of my more popular ones. What to do if your visa application is rejected. So I just Google that, and hey, guess who's is first on the list? And guess why? Not because I pay thousands of dollars with Google AdWords to get it up there. It's because it's a freaking awesome article, and tons of people go and look at it. And I actually last updated it at the beginning of this year with a fantastic blog post that I did with Richard Kurland, who he and I are actually speaking on the topic of ATIPs at our upcoming Canadian Bar Association Immigration Conference in June. So Richard and I are going on there. He's the guru. I'm just kind of his sidekick because he's the knowledgeable guy. But anyways, this is the access to information. It gives you links to where you can go to request your own ATIP. And so that's where you can go to get that. But generally speaking, this process usually takes between 60 and 90 days. Okay? All right. We are OT, guys. We are at 1 hour, 3 minutes. So I'm going to wrap it up here. I've got to get back to all the work that's piled up waiting for me. But I want to thank all of you guys who posted questions on the comment section, who were engaged with this process. I want to thank all of you who sent me emails to mholthe@stringham.ca and remembered to put EE Live Q&A in the subject line. And yeah, it was a great EE Live Q&A today. We covered a lot of good things. Don't forget, guys, this is it. It is the bomb. This is where you get the information. So Canadian Immigration Institute, and if you type that in, all one word, CanadianImmigrationInstitute.com, it will take you to where you can log in directly to this Express Entry complete step-by-step guide to doing it yourself. And I also want you to let you know that I'm working on another one for study permits and a third one for visitor visas. So all of those are going to be soon added to the Canadian Immigration Institute website. They'll be accessible to all of you. And so don't forget this here, right here, that's what you guys want to focus on. If you're looking for just a little bit of extra help, or you can book a consult with me. Like I've said before, we're happy to do that, either myself or Billy, who saw that I was still recording and was in her desk for a couple minutes and then ran away. I was going to turn my screen and show you. Anyways, but thanks for joining, and we'll see all of you guys again next week, same time. Tuesday at noon Mountain Standard Time. That's 12 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, right here in the beautiful province of Alberta, Canada. I am your host and the guru guy answering your questions, Mark Holthe, Canadian immigration lawyer, ex-immigration officer, and former high school teacher. And I want to wish all of you guys the best as you do your very, very, very best to navigate this crazy world that we call Express Entry. Take care.